y'all, welcome to the 100-bit, part 13 of Bastion. We're still going through the dream sequences.
Just trying to get stuff done.
Introducing, is there any introduction for this one before we
start?
No,
this is Zulf.
Alright, this is Zulf. Continuing, we're laying the foundation for you guys to see what kind of gamers that we are, and later on we'll be going into what our channel is going to be about. So, our major opinions on, at least currently, for the major gaming companies. First one probably covering is Nintendo. As a company, Nintendo, I personally believe, should, in a much more nitpicky sense, should work with Sega to keep Sonic Nintendo exclusive. Maybe this is because of my Sonic 06 worries, but I'm scared of him being multi-platform with others. Yes, I like Generations, but I feel Nintendo knows the right push for Sonic. As a company, though, Nintendo, I like what they do. I appreciate what they do. I love the Wii U, Pikmin 3, even the recent Mario games I always get a kick out of.
I think they should get their memory checked.
They need to revitalize a couple of forgotten franchises and give those as much attention as they do for Mario. Because I believe if they put that much attention in there, they shouldn't worry about...
Well, with Mario, I mean, seriously, they're always going to make Mario games because those things sell like hotcakes. And, do you want to risk, making another Metroid game and then maybe it not selling as great? Or do you want to make a Mario game that you know is going to sell freaking 15 million copies?
That's what I believe. I know it's a vague opinion and I don't have the whole story, but Mario has a formula down of gameplay-wise.
And it gets rehashed every single time when they decide to make 5 of them on the same
But not
platform.
to go into Mario too much. They,
and you'll most likely see some Mario on the channel.
Mario has a formula that's set, and they know to work with that. Even sometimes expand upon it, especially with 2D and 3D games. But I feel like they kind of had that formula going with a couple of the games, more specifically Star Fox and Metroid. They have gameplay formulas that work, that are, set in stone, that people like, they well received, and I personally don't think that should be a deterrent. They shouldn't worry about Metroid or Star Fox selling well if they have the formula down, and they have the sales records of those games to prove it. And that's essentially my gist. I plead for Nintendo to be a little more open-minded. That's all.
The worst offenders too with that would be like things like, Star Fox Assault, and Metroid 3, I think, is the most recent Metroid in this. At least both those games, I believe, are the most recent ones in their franchise. If I remember correctly, Other M came out after 2, or Prime 2. I'm sorry. The worst offense too is knowing that those were some of the better games in the franchise, or at least like those sold the best or had the best concepts and everything. Assault really had the multiplayer thing going for it as compared to. It really mixed it up. You had ground combat, you had tank combat, you had, flying combat. And all three really didn't feel overpowered, but, I feel like if something like that was moved over to a Wii U and then that multiplayer was given a matchmaking kind of a thing where, you could find other people online that will play it with you, I think Star Fox can succeed.
We'll go into our specifics, opinions on each of the games, though, when we reach the commentaries, though.
True.
But as a general gist, I think we're both in agreement on that Nintendo should look into these franchises and give them a revitalization. And if they give them as much attention as they do Mario, then they could have more than 2 or 3 successful franchises. They could have 5, 6, 7.
Because Lord knows they have a magnifying glass on Mario.
They do.
As far as other franchises, companies, at least with the big 3, I think Xbox has been. They did well with the 360 and everything. 360 was definitely my favorite, at least in that generation. But some of the better exclusives, I want to say, came from the PS3, which is funny. Things that I find wrong with Sony are little details that Microsoft does really well in capitalizing on. For instance, like the multiplayer. Right, Sony's multiplayer servers have been known to be crap. As compared to 360s, they're always, there's a high upkeep and everything. And I think that's really just because of the money thing. You know, we're paying for a subscription for Gold just to play the multiplayer. Thus, they should be up to par. You know, or I'm sorry, exceeding par if we're going to use PS3 as par. Where PS3, it's a free service, so you know it's not really cutting it slack. But you also have to realize like they're taking thousands, tens of thousands, potentially hundreds of thousands of dollars and pouring it into the servers just for people to say, their multiplayer is alright.
As a Xbox, I want them to do well just as well. I'm a big fan of the competition in general, and
I mean that's the basics of capitalism. You know, you're supposed to have a free market and everything. That way, everybody pushes each other. That's why you have better and better, you know, computers and stuff coming out because they want theirs to be, you know, sold and stuff. At least with the big three right now. I mentioned it before that I believe that the best year of competition, I want to say, or era would be, you know, the PS2, GameCube, Xbox era. And a lot of people I believed that because some of the better games came out. And lately I've been finding that they're not making great games anymore. They're making games that they know they're just going to sell well. Why create a new franchise when you know Gears of War 8 is going to sell just 10 times more copies? You know, kind of a thing.
It's not specifically Xbox. I just know Microsoft's a company, and I'm not going to give them the same kind of attention that I would give Nintendo, who was primarily a video game developer. Microsoft in general is much more than Xbox, and even its PC has got its own. It has its own business. It's trying to apply to tablets and the personal computer right now, cloud storage. They have a bunch of things to work on, with Xbox being just one of them. So I'm not expecting the kind of attention that I would expect from Nintendo. Same deal with Sony for that matter. It boils down to the developers, and with Microsoft and Sony and Nintendo requiring whatever developers they can, obviously the bigger company makes the decision. Nintendo would know which developers to stick with, and whereas Microsoft and Sony tend to go with the developers that can make a money-making game. Some of them, we do get the better ones, ones like Naughty Dog and stuff like that, who take pride or at least create masterpieces.
I think with Naughty Dog and Insomniac, I think they just have a good track record with PlayStation, so they're able to trust them.
Yeah, and I like to think anyway. I don't know them, but I like to think that they put time and effort into their games. Not saying other people don't, but it shows compared to other titles, and it kind of like the kind of attention that Nintendo puts into their titles, Naughty Dog puts in theirs. So Sony's got a good thing going with them, but Microsoft on the other hand seems to be having a little bit of trouble. They stick with Activision and EA. Well, then they stick for both companies. That's to be expected. But EA and Activision as companies once again are on the same fence as Microsoft, being a company that primary goal is to make money and make a game that can sell well. If it's as opposed to high quality or has a lot of thought put into it or care put into it, who can say? But it starts to show that they are a fan of rehashing because rehashing sells.
One of the things that you mentioned earlier, which I sometimes forget, these companies also sell other products. For example, Microsoft is, they started as a computer thing. Sony started out as, entertainment thing. So one of the things I wanted to bring up was, Sony has their TVs. Microsoft has their, home-based consoles and everything. I just thought, what about Nintendo? Nintendo is solely video games. We can't really. I want to say we can't give that much slack to Nintendo because that's what they're supposed to be doing. They don't have any side projects or anything like that. With that, I do say please make a Nintendo phone. I will buy one immediately. I will pre-order. But with at least as far as Nintendo goes, they focus a lot on peripherals, and as much as I love Nintendo and they have great games and everything, and I own a Wii U, I freaking love my Wii U. It's just you just gotta give them some tough love.
Tough love. They're put under more scrutiny being only a video game video game based company.
Something worth noting too is the amount of scrutiny they get sometimes is over exaggerated. I know I'm kind of giving them a lot of crap right now, but to be honest, when I see articles go up on like other sites saying that this is their stock dropped 20 points, it's like, okay, well in a week later it came back up. Why was that not mentioned? After only a week it went back up. If anything, that was a good sign to buy stock right now.
Actually, that's a good segue into our personal opinion when it comes to these things. So I'll state ahead for people who are going to be following the channel. When it comes to these games, yes, there's bad games, there's good games, but I do not.
And we'll be playing a mixture of both.
I don't listen to reviews. I honestly don't care about articles. The development cycle does affect the game, but it's not a important part when it comes to reviewing the title itself. The game could go through development hell and wind up great. The game could not go through development hell and wind up bad. I don't care about that. I want the completed product. The game that I spent nowadays $60 on is what I'm going to be looking at, and it's what I'm going to get my impressions on. I don't like using I don't base anything off of these major reviews. I can agree with them, I can disagree with them, but I don't base my own opinions on them. I know it's a popular thing, and it's a topic for debate, but
it's a thing.
It's a common thing. I just wanted to state that now. I will bring up IGN or Machinima or anybody who does major reviews or articles, but honestly, the channel's mostly going to be focused on our opinions of these games. If it's a bad game to you, then we hope our commentary can maybe turn you around on it if we do like it. But we just wanted to state that we're not very big on the major ones. We will be giving you information, of course, that we can sometimes pull from them. But if it's just hardcore facts about the game, if it's opinions and stuff, we'll bring them up, but we'd much rather bring in our own opinion.
Yeah, with my opinions and everything, they do. I do want to say that reviews and everything like that, the websites do, have an impact on how much scrutiny I give to a game, or how much I want to believe in a game or anything like that. But what I will say is this: with the game reviews, I tend to look more towards the Metacritic scores than just, for example, IGN or Machinima's reviews. Mainly because I want to see what it is on average. Then after that, I let the gameplay tell me what I'm going to believe. I will watch the gameplay videos for games that are up and coming, just to say, you know what, this might be something I might want to put a pre-order for. A lot of the times, I'm let down, especially as of late. There are some games that I'll throw some pre-order money, and I just go, why did I do that? I should just transfer that pre-order money to something else. Or what's really been happening to me is I pre-order a game, forget to finish paying it off, and then find out a month later that I pre-ordered it, and I go, oh right, about that, I should probably finish picking up the game, and then I am pulling up those reviews and saying, is it worth it or not? A lot of the times, if they don't meet a certain Metacritic standard, or if some of the reviews I'm reading, and I do read more than one, if they don't say anything great about it, I will most likely just GameFly it. I am a huge fan of GameFly. I have their gold level subscription where I could get 3 games at the same time, just because I'm a fan of being able to return the game without going, oh man, now I have to bust out my receipt and I have to find an excuse to return it, kind of a thing. So I do the GameFly for games that I find, they might be subpar. I'm not 100% confident that this is going to be a game that I'm going to want to hold on to, or at least purchase for full retail price. I should probably rent that.
I guess the basis is you won't really know what a game is until you
play
it yourself. If you rent it to do it, great. It's a cheaper way to do it, and you can get yourself an accurate opinion on the game. But honestly, you won't know until you actually play it. But that's my philosophy. It's not everybody's. Just stating for the channel, when it comes to our opinions, they're mostly based off of our own personal, with a common disregard for what the professional reviewers say. So just to cover up, we won't be for a lot of the games, we won't be rehashing opinions in IGN.
And not to bash on these professional reviewers, but sometimes they do sound extremely biased, especially when you hop around site from site. I find that myself because, like I said, I look at multiple reviews before buying a game full retail price, $65 after tax. So when I'm reading through them, imagine my surprise where I go on one site and it's like, this game is terrible, don't buy it, it's terrible, wait till it's $3 at GameStop. Or, another site where it's tooting its horn for it. It's saying, this game is amazing, it's so revolutionary, and so, I will say with some of these professional reviewers, I want to say they would need to get their act together. They need to, a lot of the time I don't see a clear format for how they review these games. As far as we go, once again, this is based all upon our personal opinions. If you like our opinions, or if you want to, or if you think, from my perspective, I might agree with so, go for it. Get the game.
And of course, you're free to voice your own in the comments, or, any other way you feel necessary to. We're more than happy to hear from you guys as opposed to what you guys think of the game. Or even if we missed something, let us know.
Yeah, definitely. If I missed any part with Bastion at all, don't be... I shouldn't say don't hesitate, because I know nobody's going to hesitate to voice their opinion on the internet, but definitely don't bash me for it. Don't go nuts where you're cursing my family for eternity and that my children...
Hopefully we won't run into that too
yeah.
much. But the video's pretty close to ending, but I'm going to do a quick... We're going to go into it in the next video. I'm just going to do a quick... speaking of the games themselves, I'm going to name a quick list of my favorite developers as of late. The developer Sonic team, obvious reasons, I'll stick with that. I'm a big fan of BioWare. BioWare does great RPGs. Nintendo as a developer is always good. Specific ones, I have been on questionable terms with ones like Capcom and Square Enix, but once again, the opinions of those games in particular reflect my opinion of the company as a whole, and since my opinions on those games are varied, and I don't want to spoil them until we get to those games, I'll just say that my relationship with Capcom is varied. Love-hate, hesitant.
That's I know your feels.
Gray area for Capcom, as opposed to Square Enix as well, same deal.
Yeah, with my companies, Atlas is definitely up there. I want to say 85 to 90% of the things they pump out, I will give it a try, and then I want to say another 70 to 80% of those games that I try, I enjoy. So I don't know what's the math on that, like 65% of Atlas games I like. I don't know. Let's see here. Square Enix, I've like I said, I'm a huge RPG fan, and I've played tons of their RPGs. Very, very love-hate. A lot of hate lately, but that's really easily fixable by just going back and playing some of their games that have aged very well.
And which we will be doing.
Yeah, we will.
You can basically state that for a lot of our opinions. You'll be seeing them.
Yeah. Some other games, some other companies worth noting. Konami. I don't want to say love-hate, but for the games that I've played that's from Konami, very, very much love. Though I wouldn't say they're my top 10 favorites. I'm trying to think of other companies.
You're an indie.
BioWare.
You're an indie guy in some respects.
Not that that I just love and throw myself at indie games, but I do want to say I give them more of a chance than other games. Because
like Bastion.
Like Bastion, and that's because I'm coming from the perspective that I know 5 guys in a room that lived together for a year and a half made this game. It's not this multi-million-dollar project that Activision pumped tons of dollars into because they knew they were going to get the return tenfold.
So we are reaching the end of the part. We're going to be finishing off our Bastion playthrough with one last video. We're going to cover up a couple more opinions, and then we're going to be letting you guys know the direction of the channel, so stay tuned for that.
Just a heads up, this is, I should have mentioned this before, this is Ruckus's dream sequence. It's a gauntlet, so we'll see you guys in part 2 of it. See ya!